Practice.
No, there's like 2 minutes 40 seconds left in quals.
Oh, really? Holy crap.
Yeah. So
I didn't even notice.
already. Yep. Hello everybody, and we are live on LSRTV and mixing it up a little bit on this Friday evening. We are here with the Vidane Racing League, and it is time for the U.S. Armed Forces 156 from none other than the Talladega Super Speedway. Hello everybody, my name is Evan Pasoko. Thank you for joining in. I'm going to be joined up in the broadcast booth by Dalton England for this evening's race. And Dalton, only about a minute and 30 seconds before these guys get ready to hit the grid and get this race started. 59 laps at a Super Speedway Talladega. It's a pretty good distance race. Now, not a lot of time that you can really hang out at the back, but still a good distance that you can be patient, play some strategy, and be around for the end.
Yeah, that's for sure, especially at a super speedway. You always want to have that right strategy of hanging around and definitely being there towards the end, and that can always pay off at super speedways. And as you'll probably see tonight, is a few drivers that hang around in the back, and when that yellow comes on around lap 30, halfway usually, they're back up in the front. And as we've seen 2 weeks ago, Ian Plash got the win due to that strategy.
And definitely for sure, last week it was Kyle Brummett going to victory lane at Daytona in the GOMA 162. And again, this is a series. There's 12 races in this season. Tonight is race number 10. So after tonight, we make one more trip to Daytona and then one more trip to Talladega before we crown the champion. A quick look at the standing. It's Wes Hogue up top. That's 318 points. You talked about Ian Plash in second position, only 8 points back. And then it's about 50 on back to the machine in third place. So at this point, if those two guys up front can have a solid evening, it's looking like a two-car race for the championship.
Yeah, as long as they keep the nose clean and just finish good tonight and keep reaching that points lead a little bigger over Ryan Hunt. Coming into these last two rounds after tonight, round 10, they should really be in a good spot for the championship.
Obviously, the Talladega Super Speedway, well known as qualifying, wraps up, and the cars getting ready to hit the grid. The Talladega Super Speedway, located in Talladega County, Alabama. The track itself, the tri-oval, with an asphalt surface with a length of 2.66 miles in length, with 4 turns, with banking around 32 degrees, 16 in the tri-oval, and a mere 3 degrees down the back straightaway. So that is your track facts for this evening's race. The field is starting to grid up down there on the front straightaway, so we're going to take you through your starting lineup. On the pole is Daniel Roper in the 61 machine with a time of 49.578, and outside of row number 1 is going to be Connor Anton in the 42.
Starting third, driving the number 9, it's Davey Scoville, clocking in with a 49.594. Starting his outside on row number 2, it's the number 17 of David Polak with a 49.596.
In the 5th position, the 38 machine of Wes Hogue is going to be sitting there inside row 3. Outside of him, starting in 6th, the number 4 of Jeff Ramsdale.
Starting 7th, driving the 05, it's Nick Del Campo. And starting 8th, driving the 82, it's Joe Branch.
Picking up row number 5 on the inside, the 69 of Nick Phillip in the 9th starting position, and rounding out the top 10, it's going to be Stephen O'Rourke in the 43.
Starting in the 11th position, driving the 37, it's Lachlan McClellan. And starting 12th, driving the 924, it's Ian Plash.
The row behind them, it's going to be Stuart Redmond in the 41 machine, starting in the unlucky number 13th starting position. Next to him, it's Brandon Otto in the 24.
Starting 15th, driving the 26, it's Devin Smirker. Starting to his outside, driving the 39, it's Case Brinksma.
Behind them, 17th starting position, going to belong to the 33 of Dylan Good, and alongside him, it's going to be Doug Denies in the 40 machine, that's starting 18th.
Starting 19th, driving the 83, it's Taylor Lashley. Starting 20th, driving the 21, it's Reese Brown.
And from there on back, Chris Sweat, the 00 machine, going to be starting in the 21st position, and alongside him, the 51 of Julian Medor, starting 22nd.
23rd is the number 97, Quentin Young, and starting to his outside is Damon Burnett.
Take a look a row behind them. The last car to take a qualifying time to the 25th starting position, going to be the 77 machine of Joseph Rijalva, and next to him in the 26th starting position, the 36 of Jack Rucker.
In the 27th position, driving the 48, sitting third in points, it's Ryan Hunt. And starting to his outside in the number 57, Richard Garcia.
The 09 of Bryce Sesnak behind them, starting in 29th, 30th position, the 94 of Paul Strickland Jr.
31st goes to the number 11, Braden Oakley, and to his outside is John Ecker in the number 90.
William Perry in the 70 going to start 33rd, 34th, the 91 of John Quid. Jacob E. Colts is going to start in the 31 and 35th position, 36th position, the 024 of Colin Stiles. Robert Hill Jr. in the 27, starting 37th position, 38th, the 087 of Don McKay behind him. Dylan Rafferty in the 46 is starting 39th, 40th position, the 02 of Jesse Kaplan. Alex Presido in 34 machine, starting 41st, and starting at the back of the pack is going to be Nick Lancaster. However, both those drivers at the back not currently on the racing surface. So looking like we have about 35 drivers on the track right now, set to take this green flag as they are doubled up and the lights are off atop the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. So we are looking for the green this time. Bobby and Dalton, before we get going here, I know you talked about maybe that caution coming out around the midway point in this race, as it seems to happen at Talladega Super Speedway. That's normally just how they fall. Any other prediction for the race?
It's definitely going to be a good race here at Vidane every week. It's always good, and hope it puts on some good action tonight.
Well, we are on the front straightaway. The pace car going to dive down to the safety of the pit lane any moment. There he goes, the field in the hands of the 61 machine of Daniel Roper. Outside of him, it's Connor Annan in the 42 machine. They make up your front row as they pace through the trioval, waiting for the drop of the green flag. They bunch up behind our leaders. On the loud pedal is the 61 machine. The green flag flies, and we are underway at the Talladega Super Speedway. No real jump on the front lane. 61 going to stay side by side with the 42 of Anton on the top lane into 1 and 2.
The 17 and the 4 are going to try to make it 3 wide on lap 1, going through 1 and 2, but it's not going to stick. They're going to get back into the second lane and start going 2 wide all the way down the backstretch.
2 wide all the way throughout the pack. Meanwhile, up front now, Roper in the 61 has help behind him. It's the 9 of Davis Goebel behind him. They are pushing on that bottom lane, so the 2-car tandem up atop them is going to be the 42 of Anton with help from the 17 of Pollack. Those cars breaking up now on the top lane through 3, and now out of 4, it's all the 61 of Roper up front for now.
Still double file all the way through the field. A little 3 wide action back in the back, and Roper's going to lead lap number 1.
The 43 of Stephen O'Rourke in 10th position, going to make it 3 wide, 37 on the bottom of McMillan's going to push it up a little bit, so 3 wide back here in the middle of the pack. Now the 24 machine's going to go and make it 3 wide. That's Brandon Otto. He's getting around the 41 on the inside of Stuart Redmond. Redmond's going to drop off, and now the 24 able to pull in line, but they are all catching up now. 3 wide up front as the 17 of Pollack takes a look to the outside, can't get it done. He's going to pull back in behind Anton in 3 and 4, and now the 05 and the 4 machine going to go 3 wide behind them. The 4 of Ramsdale dropping back on the top.
3 wide all the way through the field. The 42 and the 17 are going to try to make a run at it to lead lap number 2.
2 wide now all the way through the top 20 cars, separated by a mere second. They are so close at the beginning of this race. Nobody breaking away quite yet. 17 machine of Pollack going to drop down to the inside now and get in behind the 42 machine of Anton. The 61 is going to pull up. That's Daniel Roper. He's going to go up to the top lane out of quarter number 2, and he's up now in front of the 05 of Nick Del Campo. Del Campo going to try to get hooked up with the back bumper of that 61 machine. 61 now getting out of the way, maybe trouble. He's going to go to the top lane in 3 and 4. Oh, contact 4 machine behind them and sideways. Ramsdale, he's going to hang on up into the wall. The caution flag is going to fly, and up and over is the 4 of Jeff Ramsdale as trouble in 3 and 4. Going to put us into the first yellow of the evening. working on getting the replay up, and that all happened in 3 and 4, and it looks like the 37 machine pushed up a little bit, and that was Lachlan McMillan on the bottom. And I noticed the 37 had some issues keeping it down there on the bottom in the opening laps, and he came up just a little bit and clipped that 04 machine. 04 came down. You're taking a look at the replay now into the 24, back up into the 82 machine, and they ended up wrecking behind them as they all were checking up to avoid actually that initial incident, and a whole bunch of cars getting caught up in that. The 77, the 11, the 97, the 26, the 31, the 70 machine, a whole bunch of race cars torn up early in the going in this race, and not the way they wanted to get their evening started for sure. Again, at a 39, or rather 59 laps on the board. Caution going to come out early in the going on lap number 3. And Dalton, that was a pretty intense start of the race. Normally with a distance of this long being 59 laps, you can see some of these guys back off, but they were not shy of going 2 and 3 wide there in those opening laps, and those guys at the back had to pay the price.
Yeah, we seen Roper lead lap number 1, and he had, I believe it was the 38 pushing him across the line on lap number 1, and the 42 of Connor Anton and 17 of David Polak. They got on the high side, and they got clear in 1, and as soon as they got onto the inside, Roper in the 61 went high to definitely go to the back to pick up a partner, and as soon as that happened, there was big carnage in the back of the field, and the 4 went flying up into the catch fence.
And that's one of the prices that you pay for not getting a good qualifying lap at Talladega. Now, you look at all the tracks that you could go to in this series, obviously only going to the super speedways, but you put it in contrast with, say, a 1.5 or a short track. At those races, it's almost a lot more painful to be starting at the back because it's a lot harder to make your way back through the field. But then again, at Talladega, the track where it's easiest to make up positions. However, if you're in the back and that happens up in front of you, you know that something like that could be inevitable, and you're going to want to have to get out and get up to the front. That's the safest position because, again, the guys that wrecked weren't even part of the initial contact, but they just got wrecked trying to check up and avoid that because they were still 2-3 wide and on each other's bumpers back in the pack. So it's another risk that you take at Talladega, and I think that's what we saw with the 4 machine of Jeff Ramsdale. He was running up front, noticed the 2 wide, and it looked like he was going to make a move to the top lane, but when those guys came up behind him, it was Del Campo, and the 05 came on up behind him. The 4 machine just tried to get out of the way and went up to the top looking like he wanted to drop back, and unfortunately for him at the same time, that's when the wreck happened, and he ended up getting collected in that, which I think he was doing the exact opposite and trying to avoid that by maybe dropping back early in the going, seeing the intensity that the race was presenting early in the going, and now his 4 machine is sitting P17, and that thing's crab logging at about 15-degree angle down the back straightaway, so definitely some damage, and that's not what you want at Talladega, a track that is so aero-sensitive. It's going to hurt him at this point.
Yeah, as you know, we talked about the 61 of Roper falling to the back and getting a little collected in it, but not much damage to the front end. The crew down there got it fixed the last lap around, so they're going to be starting in the 26th position as they're going to be taking the green here pretty soon. Lights are not out on the pace car just yet.
Yeah, we're going to pace down the front straight with the lights still on atop the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car at the front of this field. The 42 of Connor Anton is your current race leader after starting in second. So again, Roper in the 61 machine, your pole sitter, you just touched on him there, sitting in the 26th position right now after some trouble early on in the going. Went down to the pit road. Looks like he got a quick fix on the 61 machine. That thing looking nice and spotless, and he's sitting back there in the pack now, but a lot of racing left to go, so still well doable by the 61. He just wants to keep that nose clean from here on out. Lights are going to remain on the pace car this time by the stripe, so at least 2 more laps of pacing before we get back to green flag racing. We're going to take a quick moment to talk about some of the presenting sponsors with the Vidane Racing League tonight. One of them being Rent a Race Car Northeast, renting their stock cars at Stafford Motor Speedway every Friday night. This isn't a ride-along, it's a race. That's Rent a Race Car Northeast. Check them out at rentaracecarne.com. Also, Ken's Cards, sports cards and collectibles, baseball, football, NASCAR, pro wrestling, and more. You can check them out also at www.facebook.com/Ken's Cards. So several cars still remaining in this race at this juncture in the race out of the 38 machines. that took to the green flag. There are 31 remaining on the lead lap right now. Several of those cars still down the pit lane getting service done and trying to get their machines back to top priority before they can get back out there on the racetrack. And this track, obviously with the super speedways, you call the draft the great equalizer. When you're running like these guys and that's all you race, everybody gets real good at it. I mean, you look at the race winners this season opener, it was Austin Atkinson taking it away. He won the opening 2 races at Dega and Daytona, and he is the only driver to win 2 races so far this season. So that shows that he can win at both of these racetracks. So a solid driver for sure. You got to look at other guys that would have won. You have David Pollock, Davey Scoville, Ian Plash, Wes Hogue. Ian Plash actually winning 2 races as well. Both of those coming at Daytona. Logan Clampett with a win, and Kyle Brummett also taking home a victory this season as well. And we touched on the point situation with the top 2 cars in the championship standing about 8 points in front of each other. West Hogue up atop the points, only 8 points ahead of Ian Plash. And then it's 50 back to Ryan Hunt in the 3rd spot. And again, after tonight's race, only 2 to go in their campaign. So those guys 3rd on back really are hoping that those 2 guys up front have some sort of trouble. And if it's going to happen, it's going to happen at a race like Talladega for sure. I mean, they're coming down the crunch time in the season, but those guys aren't going to make up those 50 points unless those leaders have some trouble. So the lights are now off atop the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car at the front of the field. And so we're going to be fixing to go back green here next time around. So the green flag will fly when we come to take lap number 8 of 59 at the Talladega Super Speedway. We already went over the track facts. Quick update on the weather. Partly cloudy, 78 degrees Fahrenheit. No wind, so dead still air and a relative humidity at 55%. The front row for this restart is going to be the 42 of Connor Anthony. He's going to be the control car on the inside lane. The 17 machine outside him, that's David Pollock. He is going to be outside of row number 1. So the field pacing down the back straightaway, going into 3 and 4. We're going to be looking for another green flag. Some cars that are having some trouble right now and are trapped a lap down. First car 1 lap down right now, the 11 of Braden Oakley. He's in 32nd. Jeff Ramsdale also is 1 lap down. Joe Branch 2 laps down. Joe Quinn and Devin Smirker also 2 laps down, along with Joseph Rijalva at the back of the pack, and then Jacob Ecoltz in dead last place, no longer on the racing surface at this point. They have taken that thing to the pit road and trying to get repaired, but he is not currently on the racetrack. So doubled up in 3 and 4, and we're going to be coming to another restart. Dalton, and do you think these guys are going to maybe take it a little bit easier knowing that what they just saw?
Yeah, that's for sure, especially the mid-pack. Not forcing a 3 and 4 wide would be the good plan as of right now. I mean, they've still got 52 laps to go when we go green flag racing here.
Pace car down to the pit lane, and the field is in the hands of the 42 of Anton. Now, unlike at other racetracks, he doesn't really want to get a big jump. He wants that 9 of Scoville to be on his back bumper, so they're actually going to wait till the green flag flies from the race officials. Now the green flag flies there in the flag stand, and they're on the loud pedal to the 42 machine is off. The 17 of Pollock going to have the advantage at the line, so David Pollock on the top lane with the advantage, but the 05 machine is about a car length back from him, so the 9 is going to get hooked up. That's Scoville on the inside with Anton. The 05 is going to sneak down to the bottom. What a move by Nick Del Campo. Seeing the 17 is slow. 17 is going to hold up the 43. Del Campo going to get on the back bumper of the 38 machine of the West Hogue championship point leader. Those two going to try to make a run on the top. Meanwhile, 2 wide all the way back.
2 wide all the way through the field, as you said. And the top 8 are pulling away just a little from the rest of the field, but they're still early here in the race, and it's definitely going to be a good one. As it looks like the leaders are getting ready to switch. Or Davey Scoville had to get a little air there. The 38 and 05 are going to try to make a run here on the outside with the 17 and 43. As we see there in the 39 of Case Brinksma has no partner, trying to hang on to get a 3-car tandem going. It doesn't seem like it's working out just yet.
41 comes up and almost catches that 39 of Brinksma. He's going to have to go up the racetrack. He's able to hang on now. Trouble in front of him. 1 car sideways. The 9 of Scoville pointed at the inside wall. He hangs on to it. So the 9 machine going to keep it going straight, and he has to merge back up in traffic, and he's going to go all the way to the back of this lead lap, and that was near disastrous up at the front of the field. Now the 38 machine of Hogue. As you see a replay right there, Hogue is now working with the 42 of Anton. They're up front on the inside lane. Meanwhile, side by side behind them, the 05 of Nick Del Campo out now has help from the 17 of David Palak behind him.
Yeah, the 9 of Davey Skoll definitely got lucky on that one. That was an awesome save on his part. Not going into the wall. Going to be in the back of the field, but at least he can say we didn't get into the wall. Definitely don't have any damage. Just going to have to come from the back of the field. They're going to go 3 wide up here in the front pack.
A little bit of a checkup with the 17 machine of Paulak. Kind of got bounced around between the 05 of Del Campo and that machine on his back bumper. The 39 of Brinksman. 17 pushed up the racetrack, and the 39 had to back it down and let that 17 back in the line. So you see him 2 wide throughout the top 10. The 37 machine with a little bit of a wiggle on the top lane, trying to get comfortable in this machine. Remember, he had some trouble holding it down there in the opening laps and made contact that initiated the opening wreck in this race, but he is trying to push hard on the back bumper of the 42 machine. 43 is going to drop up to the top now, get in front of the 42 machine as possibly a switch up front. So now you see the 42 of Anton on the back bumper of the 43 machine. So that is O'Rourke on the top lane, and now the 38 of Hogue is leading the bottom with help from the 41 of Redmond down the back.
West Hogue would lead lap number 10, and the 43 and the 42, Anton and O'Rourke, are going to try to work the outside lane, and the caution flag is out.
Trouble on the racetrack, yellow flag out. Several cars involved. The 087 of Dan McKay is in it. The 70 machine of William Perry is torn up, and we're going to go into the second yellow of the night. So it's the 70 machine and the 087 down the back straightaway. So William Perry, the 70 machine, was on the inside of the 087 of Dan McKay, and they're all by themselves. And actually, it stems from the 97 machine, which might have been slow and almost attributed to this, but it looks like the 087 machine of McKay was planning on pulling in line to the back bumper of the 70 of Perry, and maybe Perry checked up a little bit getting around the slower car, so the 087 came in too hot, just caught the right rear of the 70 and turned him straight into the outside wall, and then they both went spinning into the inside wall. So nonetheless, the second caution gonna fly here at the Talladega Super Speedway, and we're gonna slow him back down.
O'Rourke took the lead as soon as the yellow flag came out. Wes Hogan second, and the 43 is partner of O'Rourke, and is Connor Anton in the 42 and third.
So we are slowing the back down, and again, the second caution flag of the evening at the Talladega Super Speedway. Again, thank you for joining us for LSRTV's presentation of the Vidane Racing League. If you guys want to check them out, go to vidane.net. That's vidane.net to check them out and get more information on their league for sure. Again, a little bit different race that we have here tonight on LSRTV. So looking forward to it again. It's always fun in broadcasting the races at Talladega because it makes our job a lot easier, Dalton, because Talladega, you're never just kind of riding around single file. There's always action on the racetrack, so it keeps it entertaining and fun to watch for sure, especially for the people tuning into the broadcast.
Yeah, it's 3 wide racing all the way through the field all night long. It's got to be the best racing that we've experienced and we've broadcasted. We just seen the 38, the points leader of the number 38 of Wes Hogue coming down pit lane. He's going to get fuel. You got to remember there is 60% fuel cells, so they're definitely going to have to pit in this race.
And definitely so. Well, some cars heading to pit lane to get some fuel here in the opening laps. Again, under the yellow flag at lap 13. We're going to step away and take a commercial break. When we come back, more Vidane Racing live on LSRTV. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm CTWE Wrestler The Mac.
And I'm Showtime Stevie Stamos.
Have you ever dreamed of owning your own race car and taking it out for a test drive? Well, thanks to our friends at Rent a Race Car, you can!
Visit www.rentaracecarne.com for all the details on how you can take one of these babies out to Stafford Motor Speedway. We'll see you at the races.
Touchdown!
And welcome back, still under the yellow flag at the Talladega Super Speedway. Again, thank you for tuning in to LSRTV's live coverage of the Vidane Racing League. Tonight, race 10 of 12 on their Super Speedway campaign. And again, at the Talladega Super Speedway, we're under our second caution of the night so far. Evan Pasoko, Dalton England up here in the broadcast booth, and Laura Lawson on the cameras, as always, for tonight's race. So thank you for everybody for tuning in. Keep those comments going and stay interactive in this race for sure. But still early into going, we saw a couple of pit stops there. Dalton, you were talking about the limited fuel cells in this evening's event, so that could come into a factor here later on to going. You want to touch on that real quick?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we've seen the points leader, the number 38 of Wes Hoke, come down pit lane, but we did not see his partner in the 0-5 of Nick Del Campo. Little strategy pulled out there. Del Campo comes down a lap later just to get that one extra lap of fuel, and if I'm not mistaken, Wes Hoke also came down to get that extra lap of fuel. That could always help them there at the end of the race.
The lights still remaining on that pace car up at the front of the field. Right now, the 43 machine of Stephen O'Rourke is being scored as your race leader, and he started in 10th place. You take a look at the car in second. The 42 of Connor Anton started in second. So good job by the 43 machine. So with the shorter green flag runs that we've seen here in the opening laps, good job by him to be able to make his way from the 10th position to now sitting P1. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do with that once we get back to the green flag. Top 10 as they run right now on the racetrack. 43 of Stephen O'Rourke in P1. The 42 of Connor Anton in second. Third place is the 41 of Stuart Redmond. Then in the fourth position, you have the 37 machine of Lachlan McMillan. Ian Plash in the 924 machine in the fifth position. Sixth position, the 39 of Case Brinksma. Then you have David Palak in the 17 in seventh position. Eighth going to belong to the 61 of Daniel Roper. Ninth place, the 98 of Damon Burnett. And Doug Denies at the 40 machine get to round out the top 10 as they run right now. Field working again under the yellow flag, this time through the tri-oval, and this time by the stripe. We may see the 1 to go sign from the flag stand. We're going to see as the 43 machine starts to get up behind the pace car, and the lights do go off. So it's going to be 1 lap to go. So we're going to come around next time by to take the green flag on lap number 16 in tonight's event. Again, taking at the moment to talk about some of the sponsors here with the Vidane Racing League. You also have Don's Home Improvement, based in Coventry, Connecticut. Proud supporter of CT racer Kelsey Rotino. Check them out at donssidingandwindows.com. So again, a lot of great partners bringing this race together, and again this evening on LSRTV. So we're doubled up in Dalton. We thought they were going to take it easy, and it looked like they did. I mean, we really didn't see the big 2-3 wide up at the front of the field that we did before, and the incident actually came from back in the pack. So I think they got the right mindset now for this point in the race, and that's just, you know, kind of ride around. Second place, or rather 2 wide, is still a little bit iffy, but they can handle that for sure. So we are doubled up. We're looking back. Fourth green flag. The front row, the 43 of O'Rourke is going to lead us there. The 42 alongside him. The green flag is out, and we are back racing at the Talladega Super Speedway. The 41 of Stuart Redmond is on the back bumper of the 43 of O'Rourke. On the bottom lane, the 37 on the top, McMillan. Not quite on the back bumper, the 42 of Anton. So they're going to drop back at the advantage. Going to go to the 43 and 41 through turns 1 and 2.
41 of Stuart Redmond's going to take the 42 of Connor Anton's partner of the 43 of Stephen O'Rourke. Oh no, the 41 comes right up in front of the 42. The 42 gets to the 41.
Side by side, it's a drag race down the back straightaway. We're going to make it 3 wide behind him. 39 of Case Brinksman's going to step out. His partner's going to leave him. The 61 of Roper says no thank you. He's going to get it behind the 37. 37 with the wiggle. 61 going to have to check up. And now the lane is going to open up for the 39 to get back in line. So Brinksma is going to be able to retain the position that he was in before he made that forte to the outside that ended a little bit shortly. 41 side by side at the stripe. The advantage is going to go to Redmond. 43 on the inside. O'Rourke still with help from the 924 machine. The 42 of Anton and the 41 working hard on the top, but those guys just don't have the speed on the top lane in corner entry. So now as they go down the back straightaway, look for those guys to try to make up. No, 42 is going to leave the 41 out to dry. So Redmond needs to try to squeak in line, and he'll do so in a 3.
Squeaks in the line. There's not many on the outside lane, only 2 cars and a few at the back, but it's mostly single file all the way up through the field. As we said, they want to take it easy. They want to get through this race. They just want to survive. As we've seen 2 yellows there in the first 10 laps, that was definitely interesting. But we're back green flag racing, and leading this lap is going to be in the number 43 of Stephen O'Rourke. Pushing him in the 924 is Ian Plash.
We got a bunch of 2 wide back here in the pack. Let's take a look at the 98 of Damon Burnett on the top lane. He's got the 37 of McMillan in tow, along with the 39 of Brinksma. Those 3 cars trying to get something going on the top lane. That's all around the 10th position, making up a little bit of ground down the back straightaway. You see the 98 start to pull ahead of the 9, and up next to the 17 machine of Pollack as they go into 3. But the top lane again stalls out just the slightest bit on corner entry because they kind of got to go up that hill and they lose a little bit of their momentum. But if those guys on the inside aren't hooked up, if the 38, the 37 get hooked up on the top, they should be able to make some sort of a charge up to the front, actually, rather than 98 in the 37 machine. The 98 being Burnett. He's leading the outside charge. They can't get it done, so up front, it's all the 43 of Stephen O'Rourke. He has no challenge at this moment, but don't look away. That 98 machine starting to make some progress up top.
Yeah, you definitely want to watch that 98. He's been strong about every race he's ran this season. At least the ones he's not got wrecked in, I got to say that the most. I mean, they're working the outside lane as the 37 is going to get a little push from the 39. The 39 is going to take the 98 as the 37 got a little loose and got out of line. As we see Roper's going to come up into action, he's going to want to get on the 3-car tandem and see if they can make anything out of this. Oh, we see triple five. They're everywhere as we come through the trial.
Everyone's going to fan out down through that tri-oval, and a wide tri-oval if it is, but you got to be careful if you're on the back bumper with somebody, or if you're side by side, because you can see 3 distinct lanes painted on the racetrack there as we go through the corner with 2 sets of dashed white lines. Through that tri-oval, it turns to 4, so depending on where you blend, things can get pretty hairy because that thing has 18 degrees of banking, so it's almost like a 5th turn at this racetrack. Meanwhile, up front, it is the 43 machine now in the 3rd position as 3 wide now back in the pack. 61 is going to get stuck on Daniel Roper, so they're going to go 2 wide behind him and 3 wide all the way through the pack. 61 going to drop well outside of the top 10.
That's for sure. The 61's going to drop back. Don't know if he's having issues trying to get to a partner, what he's doing, maybe a strategy call from the 61 pit, but the 41 is going to lead that lap. He's going to take lap number 20.
Still going for it, pretty racy up front. Now it's the 41 of Stuart Redmond in the race lead. The 42 of Connor Anton is on his back bumper. They are on the inside lane. The 43 of Stephen O'Rourke, he's leading the outside lane charge, and trouble back in the pack now, and I do believe the yellow flag flew. Lots of trouble. Yeah, 37 is in it, the 0005, and now the caution flag is going to be thrown by race officials. So under the yellow flag we go after trouble striking mid-pack again down the back straightaway, and it all formed from 2 wide as we get the replay up. Looks like it's going to be the 40 machine side by side with the 05 and the 05 of Nick Del Campo. 40 just got loose. Not sure what happened with Doug Denies' machine going through the corner. I'm going to try to see he just moved the wheel the slightest bit and he went up the racetrack, caught the 05 of Del Campo. Del Campo tried to save it. 37 got into it. A lot of heavy damage to these race cars, and a lot of those guys running inside of the top 10. So tough break for them, but that's just Talladega. It goes every which way you don't think it will, and under the yellow flag we go again.
Third yellow of the night, just 20 laps complete. If I was the drivers right now, I would just definitely be a lot calmer. There's nothing, Doug could have did right there. Just got the apron and got a little loose and just had nowhere to go. Just drove up and nothing on his part there. We'll probably see them pit here. We're halfway, coming to halfway this lap. So, they got to check the fuel. 60%. They got to be pitting here within the next 15 laps for sure. We've seen a lot of saving under yellow, people running on the apron and all sorts of stuff. The 41 and the 43 have not pitted, but it looks like the front of the field, all of them are going to come down pit road. Looks like it's going to be gas and only for most of them.
We're going to see as they come down the pit lane, 2 wide around the 5th position down the pit lane, and will we see a change for the lead as they enter the pit lane? 41 Machine of Redmond going to lead him down. He's going to go into his pit stall. Again, 41 did not sit on the pole, so he's going to have to pull into his stall and doesn't get all the way down to the end of the pit lane. No tires are going to go on, so 41 gas only is going to come out of the pit lane. 61 Machine going to enter pit road right in front of him. Race leader 41 with contact, and the 61 Machine, everybody scatters. 41 is going to lose a bunch of spots, so trouble for race leader Stuart Redmond. Going to drop all the way back to 8th after making contact with a race car coming down the pit lane.
Yeah, as we've seen that on pit lane, the 42, he got right on through it, and the 42 is Connor Anton. He is going to lead that lap. He's also going to get out of the pits first. Definitely going to be a hard. The 41's definitely got damage on the front end. They're going to definitely probably have to come back in. If they don't come back in, they got to salvage something out of it.
That was a pretty strange deal that you got going down at the pit lane to get a car that was further back in the back, came and pulled in front of him, and the machine got squirrely. Got some front end damage possibly from that. The 41, I'm trying to get a nice look at the nose of that thing. Doesn't look too torn up, but might have some minor damage as he grazed the back of the machine in front of him, and he had to try to regain control of it. And in the end, unfortunately, he had to, he saw the wobble. He was trying to get those rear tires to settle down and get grip and go forward. And those guys behind him were already 3 wide leaving the pit lane. And then you throw a slow machine in front of them, so they had to scramble to try to survive that as well. So there you go. Anything could happen. A Talladega race leader going to go from 1st to 8th under the yellow flag after trouble on the pit lane.
For sure, lights are still on the pace car. We're going to see this time if the lights will go off. If the lights do not go out, we will have 2 more pace laps. If the lights do go out, we'll have 1 more pace lap. Braden Oakley got the lucky dog this caution. It's Braden Oakley with the lucky dog.
The lucky dog going to go around, and you have to imagine now I do believe this is the 3rd or 4th caution that we've seen this evening, that you want to tell these guys to be patient. And again, the more cautions you see, the more that you want to be patient, but the more that we race, the more laps are ticking off. So as much as these guys kind of want to ride around, this is by no means a big 100-lap race. 59 laps, still a lot, but you take a look, we're pacing under lap 24 at the moment, so approaching the halfway this time by the stripe. So they really got to start to get up and go. They just made their pit stop, so they should all be good to go until the end. So you got to look at this and think, how easy are they really going to take it? Because again, you've seen the wrecks. A lot of fast race cars have been torn up, but at the same time, laps are starting to wind down, and the intensity is only going to pick up front.
That's for sure. As we've seen that incident happen in pit lane, a few pitted up front. Stuart Redmond's going to fall into the 6th position. He did not pit, so the crew must have said there was not much damage. We should stay out from here, see what happens. But most of these people have gas. It should be an awesome rest of the race here on CF. They shouldn't have to pit unless somebody has not pitted already. Which, if you haven't pitted yet, here in about 10 laps, you'll be running out of fuel.
Some more presenting sponsors to mention real quick under the yellow flag. You have RAR Chevette Productions. Check him out on YouTube. That would be youtube.com/user/RAR Chevette Productions. Also, Pro-Am Belts, designers and creators of the 2013 Vidane Racing Championship belt. So that's www.proambelts.com. Also, EX Lander Designs, www.exlandr.com. calm as well. So a lot of sponsors again, and nobody can get a league going by themselves, so you got to give a big shout out to everybody that makes this possible and get such a great group of guys together to get this thing going. And we started this race with almost a full field, as we may get the one to go this time by the light still on the pace car as we entered the tri-oval. We started with 38 drivers taking the initial green flag in this thing, and right now only 24 of them remaining on the lead lap, so 14 drivers having trouble here early, and I'm sure more than 14 of them have been caught up in their share of incidences so far after, again, working under the yellow for our third caution of the evening tonight. So, again, lots of those guys, 14 drivers dropping off of the lead lap. Going to want to try to pick that up, but they still have a lot of time to go. But William Perry's the only driver 2 laps down, and the first car that's not on the lead lap. So if he can just keep it going, he should be set for a wave around. However, he doesn't have a front end on his number 70 machine, so lights are off up atop the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car up at the front of the field. So we will be going back to green as we pass the halfway point down the back straightaway. So now we're on the downhill side of things. Dalton, the intensity again going to pick up, which means the racing's going to get more intense, and I'm going to have to say that the sheet, as the race continues to progress, that more sheet metals going to get torn up, because these guys are going to be going for it, knowing again that the season's coming down to a close. Out of tonight's race, only 2 races remaining in this thing, so this is the time that you can really make it or break it. And again, one of the stories that we've been keeping an eye on are the championship leaders, Wes Hogue and Ian Plash. Got to take a look for them on the racetrack. Again, they have a little bit of a comfort. The 924 Machida Plash, who is second in the point standings, he's sitting 4th right now in this race. So Wes Hogue, the other guy who's up at the front of the field, he's back in 22nd.
Yeah, Wes, he's definitely hanging out there in the back. Don't know if he has much damage, and as we're going to look back here on the 38, yes, the 38 does have damage. The left front is very beat up. They're gonna try to get it fixed and just stay out in the race to get the points. Definitely got second locked up in this race, but they gotta, from here it's just points if you get wrecked.
So the 38 of Hogue again sitting in 22nd position. So out of tonight, Plash would take the lead if it finished right now. Pace car down to the pit lane. We're coming back to the green flag. The field is in the hands of the 90 machine of John Eckert. Outside him, the 40 of Connor Anton. They make up your front row as the 83 of Laskowski closes up behind them, and the 924 of Plash closes up behind the 42. Green flag back out atop the flag stand, and we are back racing at the stripe. The advantage barely going to go to the 90 machine of Eckert, as behind him the 83 again of Laskowski tries to get to his back bumper, 2 wide throughout the pack into 1 and 2.
Double file as we start here. Don't see any 3 wide racing going on as they're going to go off of turn number 2. The 43's got the lead with the 83 pushing him. The 42 is going to try to make a run on the outside with a 924 of Ian Plash as they're going down here into turn number 3. Double file action all the way through the field.
Now working in through 3 and 4. Still side by side up front, the 83 of Laskowski almost pushes up a little bit on the back bumper to the 90 of Eckert. The 42 trying to squeeze him down. Now the inside lane is going to get broken up here into the trials. So the guys on the outside going to get around 42 of Connor Anton, going to get a nose out in front of the 90 machine of Eckert. So 42 is going to lead it at the stripe. 83 machine of Laskowski still having some trouble trying to get on the back bumper of the 90, and now the 42 of Anton is going to leave the 324 of Ian Plash out to dry on the top lane, so he has no help. He's going to go all the way back to the 41 of Redmond unless someone decides to help him out.
The 42, we don't know. I mean, who knows if the 92 he wants to work with, but the 924 pushed him all the way up there and he just leaves him. 924 working with the 39. The 90 is working with Connor Anton and the 42, who just left his partner in the 924. And they're getting scratchly all around. The 90 goes to the high side. The 83 is just going to take it on the inside. He's going to get up to Connor Anton in the 42.
We had some trouble. The 94 machine went around, or almost went around, but made contact with the 98. In 3 and 4, they were both able to hang on to it, but they are now both severely off the pace and have lost touch with this lead pack. Meanwhile, 3 wide up in the front of the field. 1 machine up then is making it 3 wide, and that's the 924 going all the way to the back. He's telling everybody to go low. He's going to go into the top lane and drop all the way back. from that lead position, and now he's going to pull in front of looking like the 51 machine of Julian Vidane. So 924 of Ian Plash, again championship contender, going to drop all the way back here, maybe playing a little bit of strategy, which now gives lead position again to the 42 of Connor Anton with the 83 behind him. The 9 machine of Davey Scoville's going to take a look to the outside all by himself, maybe trying to get some air on the nose of that machine, and he's looking like he's going to try to stay up there on the top, but the inside lane still well open, so the 9 maybe just to take a look to see if anybody pulls up with him. Nobody does, so the 9 going to stay behind the 24 of Otto for now.
Go back up here to the front. The 42 is still leading over the 83, the 24, and the 9. 42 has been out front most of this race, as we seen the 41 of Stuart Redmond in the pits getting into a tangle with the 61 of Daniel Roper. Not much damage to the 41, so the 41 stayed out. They're running up here in the 8th position as we're coming to the trial to complete lap number 29, and Connor Anton is definitely going to lead lap number 29.
A lot of bent sheet metal and a lot of bent tempers, you could say, at the Talladega Super Speedway, as several drivers exchanging words over the radio under this green flag run. Not the most satisfied with how each other have been racing to this point in the race, and things starting to single file out now at the front of the field. They have a little bit of a side-by-side, but that's going to break up around the 13th position. So single file now, 2 cars going to go up to the top lane. Up front, the 9 machine of Davey Scoville with help from the 39 of Case Brinksma on the top lane, and they are going to try to get something down now as they come on the top lane, and they are flying out of turn number 4.
Now that is the number 9 and the 39, who are teammates, going to try to work on the outside. Definitely partners in this race. The 39 just gave him one heck of a push. Not enough to lead that lap by 1/1000th of a second. The 39's got to get a little air getting hot up there on the 9. He's going to try to push coming out of 2 here and see if they get the run down the backstretch. But the 41 going to try to get up there. Oh, we see the 83. He's moving all around on the 42's bumper. Hopefully he can get that all arranged. They're double file all the way through the pack.
And they're going at it side by side. Almost contact. 9 of Scoville at the racetrack, as a little bit of a wiggle on the inside lane was the 83 of a Taylor Laskowski on the inside. Now they're door to door, almost running pace there, side by side for second. They all keep it pointed forward for now, but that was awfully close up front.
Yeah, we seen that 83 of Taylor Laskowski definitely came up there as we were talking going into 3, and just kept coming up, and then eventually almost hit the 9 as it's doing it right now. Don't know if something's going on, or he's having difficulties or something, but he's all over the place. 42's not having much of a run. 39 and the 9 are definitely making one heck of a run, since the 83 is not on the 42.
The 83 of Laskowski definitely having some trouble keeping that car nice and smooth in the turns. He's doing all right now, but meanwhile the top lane is going to have the advantage, led by the 9 of Davey Scoville through 3 and 4 and out of the corner. A little bit of a wiggle by the 41, the 4th car in line on that top lane. Does the 9 pull down? Yes, he does. So Davey Scoville going to pull in front of the 42 of Anton. The 9 machine going to lead this lap, and that leaves the 39 machine in charge of that top lane. The 39 of Case Brinksma on the top has help with the 43 machine behind him of Stephen O'Rourke, but 9 machine, that is the 9 in the lead of Scoville. And 01 car almost comes up as the pack goes by, and that was real close, as the 97 of Quentin Young nearly came up in front of the pack.
As we talked with the 9 and the 39, the 9 came down, left the 39 out there. Could be because the 39 was definitely getting hot out there, pushed the 9 all the way up to the front. The 39's thinking, hopefully the 43 pushes me, I can get out front, and then Davey can get on the bumper, and we can go from there.
Quentin Young is going to get the black flag from race officials. He is done for the race. He is reported to the infield, and they have parked that machine for the remainder of this. Lots of swerving up front, up and down the track, down to that yellow line, and this track, I guess you could say, a little bit more forgiving with that yellow line, because you have the yellow line. Again, you can't make a pass below that yellow line as we go 3 wide. 39 going to go back in the middle, but you have the yellow line and you have about a 15-degree angle, and then you get down to the flat apron. At Daytona, it goes right from the 30-something degrees of bank into flat. So Talladega, a little bit more forgiving, but you definitely don't want to be flirting with that yellow line. 39 machine of Brinksma being very aggressive on the inside. He pinched that top lane up high, and he pinched the bottom lane down low. He's going to pull up with the 43, doesn't want that. Now going to come down with the 41 machine. So the 39 of Case Brinksma is not afraid to make some aggressive moves here, and he's defending that spot, and he's going to be able to hang on to third this time by the stripe. More 3 wide into the corner, the 83 on the bottom, 41 in the middle, and the 43 machine on the top of O'Rourke's going to drop back with the 69 machine of Nick Phillip in tow as well, down the back, still 2 wide pretty much through the entire field.
As we just reached the 25 to go mark, as we've seen 3 yellows so far this race. 3 wide action, and we have expected it now. We're getting into the last 25 laps. Everybody's going for it. We still have 23 cars on the lead lap. West Hope, points that are coming into tonight, is still running in 22nd position, 21 seconds off the lead pack. Definitely going to be a hard night for Damage Fixing. Does not get up to the front. Ian Plash is just having hard of a night too. Running up in the front pack right now, but he's in 13th position driving the 924. Davey Scoville leads that lap number 35. Connor Anton still pushing. Oh, and then we have 3 wide action. The 11's going to get hit by the 69.
Yeah, the 11 machine of Braden Oakley going down a lap at the 69. Door banged him in the corner. So the 69 and Nick Phillip able to hang on to it and get right back in below the 43 machine. So things start to get real hairy up front, and no matter how talented you are as a driver, you can only hold on to this for so long. 2 wide up front. The 43 machine of Stephen O'Rourke now leading the top lane with the 69 machine of Phillip in tow, but it's still the advantage of the 9 of Scoville with help from the 42 of Anton this time through the tri-oval. 69 with a wiggle, he's out of line, so trouble Nick Phillip with a little bit of a bobble. He's going to get stuck now on that top lane. He's going to lose a bunch of spots. Does the 57 of Richard Garcia go with him? He does, so the 57 of Garcia is going to go up with him, can't get hooked up, and now the 33 of Dylan Gooden going to go through the middle.
As that 69 was the one who got into the 11 as they were 3 wide coming back through the field. And past the 11, the 69 really had nowhere to go. They were 3 wide, making it 4 wide on him, especially with the lapper. Lapper's nervous and just trying to stay out of the way, and the 69 got up into him. The 69's got it right back in line as he's running in the 9th position.
Side by side, it's a 2 tandem tango up front as we have 2 sets of 2 cars going at it side by side for P1. The advantage is on the inside to the 9 of Davey Scoville. The 42 going to drop off his back bumper a little bit. That's Connor Anton's second car on the inside lane. So in through 1 and 2, 43 of O'Rourke on the top with a slight advantage over the guys on the inside lane. Again, still 2 wide all the way throughout about the top 15 machines. Put those guys under a blanket. The top 15 cars within 9/10 of each other as we run down the back straightaway. Laps continuing to wind down. Currently working lap number 38 of 59. 69 machine going to go to the top lane. That's Nick Phillip trying to make something work. And again, he has the 57 with him. That's Richard Garcia. Garcia went with the 69 after the 69 got trapped on the top, and they're going to be pushing on the top. So 3 wide to the tri-oval.
3 wide through the tri-oval. They're going to pick up 21 laps to go as they come across the line. The 43 of Stephen O'Rourke is going to lead that lap. He gets to the bottom. He leaves the 39. The 39 is going to try to get in. And the 39 is going to get pushed up the track just a little. But the 69, they still got the run on the outside. I would not count them out as they come down the backstretch. 3 wide action all the way up here in the front. 33 works with the 39. And there's going to be a 3-car tandem right behind them.
And they hang on 3 wide, still inside of the top 10. 24 going to go down to the inside. That's Brandon Otto. 17 machine is the 3rd car lane on the top without any drafting help right now. So the quick forte of 3 wide is going to break up, and now we're back to the 2 sets of 2-car tandems up at the front of the field. 43 machine of O'Rourke with an advantage. 39 of Brinksma trying to get some help there on the top over his partner. The 33 of Dylan Gooden could not stay on the back bumper through the corner. And now the 33 with a wiggle on corner entry. Maybe that 33 machine's hot. 39 going to slide in line in front of the 24. So does the 17. And again, just like that, 33 machine going to go from inside the top 5 all the way back to about 7th position.
As we just seen the front pack, it was Connor Anton and Stuart Redmond. Out of nowhere, they go down pit road to get gas only. And like we said there, if you didn't
Oh,
pit the
trouble up
first...
front. Big wreck up at the front of the field. The yellow flag is out, and the leaders have piled it in turns 3 and 4, and the yellow back out, and trouble at the front of the field. Gonna take a look at the replay, and this is one of those most dangerous situations, and that is a 3-car tango up front, and the 43 is up front. You have the 9 machine of Davey Scoville in second, and then the 39 on the back bumper, that's Case Brinksman. Now, when you're in the car in the middle of that 3 cars, you're going to get bounced around. You're going to get hit. You're going to hit, rather, the back of the machine in front of you while getting hit from behind, and you can easily get squirrely, and that's what happened with the 9 machine. Got up, got sideways, got turned sideways. 24 machine has to bump his way through. 17 around, 9 around, 39 around, 33 around, 69's in it, 57 machines in it, 40 machine. Going to get a piece of it as well. And the yellow is back out for the 4th caution of the evening, and that one including some of the fastest race machines, and that happened right up at the front of the pack.
Evan, as I was saying, Connor Ann and Stuart Redmond, who pitted, I gotta say, they would have been in that wreck if they have not pitted. That was definitely a great decision by the 42 and 41 pits. They made it through that wreck, of course, and I mean, of only clean cars, only 5 people are going to get through that. That was a very big wreck to cause half of the field to be in. And here we are, reaching 19 to go, and the leaders are down pit road. It's going to be probably gas only here at the end of the race, definitely coming down to the end of the race.
So, that call by the 41 and 42 camp, that coming down by themselves, could be a deciding factor, because they don't need to hit the pit lane, as all the leaders down on pit road right now to get fuel to make it to the end of this. It's going to be the 43 of Stephen O'Rourke entering the pit lane as race leader. He's going to go out of the pit lane, and he's going to exit, it looks like, first, as some guys behind him filter out 24 off the pit lane in second position. So they're going to blend back out as other machines passing by the pit road. So everything's going to have to even itself out. Right now, the 4 is currently being shown as race leader. However, that's Jeff Ramsdale. He's 8 laps down with a torn-up race machine. So the 09 machine's actually being scored P1. And that's Bryce Senesac up in first. We haven't talked about him much. He started 29th, and now next thing you know, maybe he's been saving some fuel, unless he's staying out to get a bonus point for leading the lap and then get hit the pit lane. But the 09 of Bryce Senesac now in the number 1 spot. And there you have the 42 and the 41 that you talked about. So maybe out of luck, or maybe they were getting a little bit uncomfortable, made their stop early. 42 and 41, that could be a race deciding moment. That them came down the pit lane 1 lap just in time, and now they're up inside the top 3 while all those other guys had to take on fuel and maybe even got some damage from it.
And yeah, as we speak here with, 18 laps to go, the points are really getting down to it. Ian Plash will get damage out of that wreck, and the 38 needed the yellow to get damage fixed. This could definitely turn the championship around right here. Ian has a little damage. I mean, had nowhere to go. Goes to the apron on the brakes, and the 9 was on the brakes, and it came right down into the front end of Ian. Ian had nowhere to go, but Ian came down pit road to get a little of that fixed. Don't think it should be much for the 924 crew. The 38's definitely going to have to fix his damage to be in contention tonight, but from here on out could really turn everything around.
So now the 09 machine of Bryce Senesac going to come down the pit lane and make his stop. So there you go, 42 of Anton and 41 of Stuart Redmond going to go to the top 2 positions again after possibly a race-changing call on the pit lane to get them down 1 lap early. They end up avoiding that incident, and next thing you know, you're up P1 and 2 with nice and clean race cars. Light's going to remain on the pace car, so at least 2 more laps of caution. So we're going to step away for another quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to see the shootout to the finish and find out who's going to walk away with the victory in this evening's race. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
We are delighted to announce that the new Red Bull Air Race World Championship will take to the air and will be back in 2014.
There we have it, 2014, ladies and gentlemen.
And we are back, still under the yellow flag at the Talladega Super Speedway into the fourth caution of the evening. Again, thank you for tuning in. It's LSRTV's live coverage of the Vidane Racing Super Speedway Series tonight, race 10 of 12 on their campaign. Evan Pasoko, Dalton, England up in the broadcast booth. The lights are off. We got the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. We're doubled up going down the back straightaway. In a strange turn of events, Connor Anton and Stuart Redmond, who pitted by themselves, the two of them end up avoiding a wreck as they wreck literally 3 turns later. And now the 41 and the 42 find themselves up on the front rows. Everybody else made their final pit stops down under the yellow flag. So Dalton, the laps starting to wind down, this time by the stripe. When we go back green, it's going to be 15 laps to go, so that still leaves a window for a couple more cautions, but it's go time now.
Yeah, if you thought those first 30 laps were pretty deadly, we're reaching 15 to go, and the drivers are going to go, 3 times harder. It's going to be really brutal here at the end, and the 9, 24, and 38, they're going to hope to make through it just so they can get into the points for tonight. The pace car is going to duck down into the pit lane. The 42 and 41 are going to lead us to the green flag.
Field in the hands of the 42 machine. That's Connor Anton waiting, and the green flag is going to fly from the flag stand right now. There they go on the loud pedal. Anton bringing us back to the green flag. A little bit of a better start for the 41. On the top, that's Stuart Redmond, the 24 of Brandon Otto, all over his back bumper. It's going to be the 41 with the advantage in the 1. He's going to now pull down with his partner, so watch out for the 41 and the 42, a deadly duo, and now they're hooked up on the inside.
And that's Otto, and the 61 going to hook up. Otto lost his partner. 41, of course, going to go to the 42. 61's definitely going to have to push the 24. Nowhere to go here. So the 42 and 41, the 43 is going to try a 3-car tandem. We've seen this happen about 5 to 6 laps ago. It didn't work out as good. Hopefully the 43 just stays calm right there. Stephen O'Rourke, right on the back bumper of the 42 of Connor Anton.
Anton now starting to pull away as he's on the back bumper of Redmond. Down to the inside line is the 42 machine. Going to stay on the back bumper of the 41 for now. 43 now of Stephen O'Rourke, and he'll go to the top. Comes back down, almost gets into the 42. He's going to stay dedicated to the top lane now. The 51 is now into this picture. That's Julian Medor now up into the top 5. Lots of swerving up front as the 24 on the back bumper of the 43. 61 trying to get in. That's Daniel Roper. 40 on the inside as well. That's Doug Denies. And the 83 machine also of Taylor Laskowski also back into this battle up front.
43, 24, and 61 all working on the high side. They have got a big train going with them. Big amount of speed. They're going to try to get in the front. The 43 gets a little wiggle there. It's going to mess up the line. They had a very good run going as we're going to be reaching the 13 to go this time by 41, 42, 43. They're all too wide all the way through the field. The 61 is going to jump in right in the front of the 40. Will the 40 work with him? It's going to be interesting here as we reach the last 13 laps. Stuart Redmond's going to lead lap number 46.
The 41 with the advantage and has got his drafting partner on his back bumper. That's the 42 of Anton. However, don't count out the 43. Here comes Stephen O'Rourke on the top with help from the 24 of Brandon Otto. That 24 machine is dedicated to give the car in front of him a big shot going into the corners, and 43 is going to leave him out to dry. 24 of Brandon Otto pushes the 43 up to the front and gets left out to dry and gets left on the top lane. No help now. He's going to drop all the way back. 61 is going to go around him. Daniel Roper wants nothing to do with the 24. 61 and the 40 are going to work, so tough break for Otto. Pushes the guy to the lead, and he's going to drop all the way back to 10th now by the stripe.
That's for the 61. He's going anywhere he can, just trying to get hooked up with somebody. He's going for the win, of course, now. As we've seen there in the beginning, got involved in the wreck. Definitely here at the end in the 41, 43, and 42. They've all been by each other here so far this whole race. We've got 12 to go. Definitely going to be interesting. 59-lap race, the 60% fuel cell definitely came in effect, especially when we've seen the 41 and 42 pit. 41 and 42 go to the outside. It is 3-wide action.
Yeah, caution out, trouble in 3 and 4, and They're going to pile them in. A couple cars involved in that, and we're going to slow them back down. And under the yellow, the 94 of Paul Strickland Jr. His machine has no front end and no rear end either. And the battle continues for the 94 machine. And it looks like the 98 having trouble on the inside lane. And that's Damon Burnett on the inside. And going down the straightaway, just couldn't keep it still. Went up into the 94. 94 took a lick, went up and over. Some of their cars getting some damage also as they tried to avoid it. The 57 going to get a piece of it as well. And I believe it was the 024 machine. Not sure if we can get an onboard with the 024, but he went right through the middle of all of that and somehow survives. But what a wicked view out of the front windshield of Colin Stiles' 024 machine. So under another yellow flag, and Dalton, we saw the intensity picking up there, and we're going to group them back up, and when we let them loose, there's going to be within 10 laps to go, and that means it's only going to be even crazier.
Yeah, the 94s we just seen there on the driver radio chat. He is not very happy with the 98. 98 got loose on the inside, and 98 just came right up the track. 94 is definitely mad after that one. Really mad, but it has no back end or front end. He's got a lot of damage. Radiator's knocked out. They should be in the pits for the rest of this race probably. The 43 up front with front end damage. We've reached the end of this race, and we are in the last 10 laps. When we go back green, it should be around 6 laps to go. It's going to be very hard racing. They're going to have to save here. They probably will not be able to make it from here without saving.
Definitely, for sure. So it's going to be a race to the finish. And again, whenever you set these guys free from a yellow within 10 to go, again, no green-white checkers in the iRacing service. Why? Nobody knows, but that's not an option. So similar to IndyCar, this race is going to end at lap number 59. No extensions. It's the set distance. So take a look. We're going to go back green around 52, 53 maybe, and that leaves room for maybe one quick caution if it comes out maybe within a lap or two of when we go back green to be able to get one more restart. If they get a couple laps and then the yellow flag flies anywhere pretty much within 5 or 4 laps to go, the race is going to end. And those guys up front just need to make it around to the yellow flag to survive, and they'll be taking home those positions. So set you up for this restart. Again, lights still on the pace car, at least 2 more circuits around the track before we go back green flag racing. In the lead right now is the 41 of Stuart Redmond. He's got his partner, the 42 of Connor Anton, in second. They were reversed those spots when we went back green last time. It was the 42 up front and the 41 in second. In third place, a guy that we've heard a lot of all night, and that's the 43 of Stephen O'Rourke. He's sitting third. He's doing a solid job. The 61 back into the picture. Your pole sitter, that's Daniel Roper. Again, in fourth, Julian Mador in the 51 in fifth place. Props to him after starting in 22nd to be up here at this point in the race. Sixth position is the 83 of Taylor Laskowski. He's doing a good job after starting almost in the 20th position. He's in sixth. Ian Plash, again, we talked about the championship battle. Ian Plash entering tonight second in the points, 8 points behind Wes Hogue. He's sitting seventh, and points leader Wes in the 38 is 16th. So Plash is fixing to take, if it were to end right now, I should say, would be your points leader out of tonight. Now, we also talked a little bit about the guy in third in the points, and that is Ryan Hunt. Hunt has had no luck today, and he is sitting way back in 26th position. And Davey Scoville, who is fourth in the points, is in 17th. So a missed opportunity almost for those guys to make up ground on our top 2 in the championship standings to finish out the top 10. In 8th is the 32 of Jack Brooker. John Eckert in the 90 is in 9th, and rounded up the top 10 to 24 of Brandon Otto. And we saw him push one of the machines up to the front and pretty much got left by the 43 of O'Rourke, and that's why he's back in 10.
The 924 and the 38, if the race ended right now as we finish lap number 50 with 9 to go, he would have, 924 Van Plash would have a 1-point lead over the 38 of Wes Hogue. Lights are still on. That means 2 more laps here at the Talladega Super Speedway under yellow.
Which means even less amount of laps when we go back green flag racing. So again, I do believe a caution were to fly unless it's on that opening lap after the green flag, it would pretty much end this deal. And that's when it's so important that, you know, if you take a look at maybe a NASCAR Sprint Cup race or other races in the NASCAR Top 3 Series, when you come to tracks like this, they have the green, white, checkered, so it's almost better to be in the second spot going into the last lap. You don't want to be riding around second with maybe 3 laps to go trying to set that guy up, because of the yellow flags, you're not even going to get an opportunity to, you know, battle for that lead, because you wait and it's going to under the yellow. So it really puts an emphasis on you want to be P1 every time by the stripe from now until the checkered flag flies. Again, lights still on. The Ford First Racing Mustang pace car up at the front of the field. This time down the front straightaway. I do believe they will go off, and we will get one to go and set these guys up to go green on lap number 53, leaving us about 8 laps of racing, 8 or 7 laps of racing to go at that point. So we'll see what happens as, again, the 41 machine trailing the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car, this time by the stripe. The lights are going to turn off, so we have one to go, and we're fixing for a late race restart at Talladega. Take another quick moment to talk about some of the presenting sponsors for this evening's race, again with the Vidane Racing League and their Super Speedway Series. Again, tonight's race is the U.S. Armed Forces 165, presented by Jonathan Goke, rather. So that's the title sponsor. Also, a lot of guys that make this happen. We've seen their commercials throughout tonight's race. That's Rent a Race Car Northeast, renting their stock cars at Stafford Motor Speedway every Friday night. This isn't a ride-along, it's a race. Go to www.rentaracecarne.com. Also presented in part by Ken's Cards, Don's Home Improvement, RAR Chevette Productions on YouTube, Pro-Am Belts, Xlander Designs, Trading Paints, and WebRacingNetwork.com. Again, tonight's race on LSRTV. Again, 10th race in their campaign. 2 to go out of tonight's race. And again, one of the stories entering tonight was that championship battle. Could those guys start on back, capitalize on maybe some misfortunes by our top 2 in the standings? However, despite that, those guys have had trouble. I mean, Ian Plash still running solid in 7th place. Championship leader Hogue in the 38, he's running 16th, but the guys start on back not doing much better. So you could almost look at this as a missed opportunity for those guys, depending on how this thing shakes out.
Definitely, for sure. As we've seen the last yellow, and they led us back to the green, it was the 42 on the pole, the 41 to the outside. This time it's just switched around one little bit. Stuart Redmond's going to lead us to the green, and Connor Ayton outside. The 43 that he has worked with, the 42 and 41, all race long. Starting in 3rd, we'll see if he can get with the 61, and maybe they can get a tandem out in front of the field and break away. The pace car is down in the pit lane. They're leading us back to the green flag.
Doubled up and waiting for the flagman to throw the green, the field in the hands of the 41 machine of Stuart Redmond. 42 of Anton on the top with the 61 of his bumper. Green flag flies. We are back racing. Could it be the final restart? We're going to find out. The inside lane, not with the best run. 42 of Anton to the lead. He's going to pull in front of the 41 of Redmond just as planned, but 2 wide bumper-to-bumper traffic throughout the pack in 1 and 2.
We should have knew that was coming with the 42 and 41 working all race long. The 61 with no partner, 83 is going to try to get to his bumper to push him. The 41 and 42, they've been strong all race long as we are coming down here to 6 laps to go. 41, 42, and 43 all working together. It's a 3-car tandem as they're going into turn number 3.
43 on the bottom. O'Rourke almost by himself as the 41 starts to pull away with his partner, the 42. Again, that's Redmond and Anton up front, have been working together all night long. Top lane going to drop back a little bit. The 61 of Roper, not with the speed. And the 83 almost looks to the top lane to leave him. 61 comes down to squeeze the inside lane. Gets alongside the 51 of Julian Mador now going into the corner. 42 with sole command of the lead position as the back, I want to say the top 12 cars opened up a little bit of a gap over 13th on back, so a little bit of a breakaway. 43 wants to go up high. Does the 51 of Adora go with him? He does. So 51, no. Going to drop to the inside. Now the 41 of Stephen O'Rourke going to get left on the top, and with no help in sight, all the way back to the 61 machine of Daniel Roper. The 43 going to drop like a brick to about 6th position.
924, your second place coming into tonight in points, is running in the 4th position as we reach 5 to go. He's trying to get to the 51's bumper to push and see if they can somehow get to the win tonight to get a little more bigger of a points lead. Ian Plash needs that after tonight with 2 weeks remaining after tonight's event. Connor Anton will lead lap number 54, and there's only 5 laps remaining tonight.
Single file within the top 6. Then side by side back the 43 machine of O'Rourke, who is just up front. He is leading the outside charge with the 61-1 machine. Going to drop up high. He wants to get in that action. The 924 of Ian Plash dropping to the top now with the 43 machine on his back bumper. So they're going to race it out and try to get that top lane working. 61 now going to drop off the back bumper of the 43 because the 43 is hooked up with the 924 to Plash, and they're coming fast on the top this time by the stripe to take lap number 56 and 4 to go. A caution at this point would end the race. 42 of Anton leads.
42 comes up the track just a little on the 924. Going to try to get the 924 to watch out for him to get out of the gas to maybe cut their long race and the run just to not happen. The 42, it's not going to happen. The 41 gets off the 42. The 924 might be clear, but he's going to stick with the 43. Definitely want to have a partner here in the last 3 laps.
Lead change up front. The 924 of Ian Plash to the number 1 position with a monster shove from Stephen O'Rourke. From going from 8th to 1st in 1 lap is going to be O'Rourke rather 2nd because he pushed that 924 all the way on the top lane, and now they're in front of the 42 and the 41. Lap car on the bottom. Everybody scrambles to get around him. They hang on for now. 3 wide, a little bit behind them as everybody tries to find a spot. We are 3 wide for 10th position, but all eyes up front. The 43 machine. 42 is going to jump up high with him, leaving his drafting partner of the 41. So now Redmond going to be side by side with his former partner, the 42, and it's going to be Redmond now pushing Plash for first, but the 42 of Anton's going to give the 43 of O'Rourke a shove. They're going to get clear on the top. Does the 42 sneak in line? He does. So 2 more cars up the P1, and now the 61 of Roper again going to get left out to dry up top.
2 laps remaining. The 924 just got told by the 41 that his engine is blinking. 90 blew his engine. That is the 90. 90 cars blew his engine. John Eckert.
Yeah, John Eckert with trouble in the top 10. Blows the engine in the closing laps. 2 laps to go now into turns number 1 and 2. Remember, a caution would end it. Do they make it back to the white flag? The 61 of Roper, he's got to pinch them down if he doesn't want to drop back on the top. 41 almost into the left rear. That's the 41 of Redmond. Redmond now going to get on the back bumper of Roper down the back straightaway, and they're going to go. 43 is going to block up the top, and the 61 of Roper is going to get it behind the 43. Inside lane opens up now, and the 42 of Connor Anton leads the bottom through 3 and 4.
51 should have enough to push the 42 all the way from here. It's definitely going to be a good race. I don't know why the 43 would have went high there. That is actually the 924 pushing the 42. 43 would not have went high there. He could still be in the lead with the 42 pushing him. The white flag is out. 1 lap remaining here at the Talladega Super Speedway.
The white flag is out. It's the race to the checkered flag. The 924 of Ian Plash, second car on the inside lane. His engine's getting hot, and he can't stay on the back bumper of the 42. Now the 924 to Plash, going to jump up to the top. 43 machine wants no part of it, so the 43 of O'Rourke going to go to the top. 61 of Daniel Roper to the back bumper of the 924, almost on the left rear. Trouble, 61 around. 41 is going to hang on to it sideways. The 41's hanging on to it. Trouble as they wreck out of turn number 4. It's a drag race to the start-finish line. 42 of Anton's going to block the inside. Can't get around him, and it's going to be Connor Anton at the stripe, gonna get it, and he is the winner of the U.S. Armed Forces 160 or 156 at Talladega. What a finish as they still pile in across the start-finish line. 41 around, the 024 around. What a wild one, and we got to see a green flag finish at Dega. So while we catch our breaths there after that amazing finish, we're going to go to one more commercial break. When we come back, the post-race show, we're going to talk to our top 3 finishers, get their reaction on tonight's racing, and then that wild finish to close it out. You're watching LSRTV's live coverage of the Vidane Racing League at the Talladega Super Speedway, so we're going to go to a commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm CTWE wrestler The Mac.
And I'm Showtime Stevie Stamos.
Have you ever dreamed of owning your own race car and taking it out for a test drive? Well, thanks to our friends at Rent a Race Car, you can!
Visit www.rentaracecarne.com for all the details on how you can take one of these babies out to Stafford Motor Speedway. We'll see you at the races.
Touchdown!
I'm Pete McLeod. I'm Matt Hall. I'm this out. I'm Goke. Michael Gould. And this. And this is the Red Bull Airways.
That 360km/h runs through the gate one more time through the knife edge. The clock running, but this is sensational. It's got to be flawless, it's got to be fast, and it must be good. Oh, and there's the pylon hit! It's fast, it's very fast! Oh, incredible! Quickest time of the day!
And welcome back to the Talladega Super Speedway. A wild one has just wrapped up at the Talladega Super Speedway, again in the U.S. Armed Forces 156 with the Vidane Racing League live on LSRTV. We're going to throw it down to the pit lane where our very own Dalton England, he's caught up with our third place finisher, driving that 9.240 in Plash.
And it's again, you have came out again with the points lead out of round number 10. Great run for you tonight. Awesome job. You got third place tonight. Finishing in third place. Definitely a good points tonight. As Rowdy Hogue would finish in the 13th position. How you feeling after tonight's race?
As far as the race goes, I was just really doing my best to ride, finish, like not get screwed. Lots of wrecks up in front of me. Lots of really just nasty driving all race long. So I was just doing my best to survive. But at the end of the race, I decided, okay, well, I guess whatever happens, happens. It's go time. I guess it all worked out in the end, but just an absolutely, just terrible race. There was just no respect between any drivers, just clashing horns all race long, and I'm very disappointed in these guys. That was not the race I was looking to have.
Definitely towards the end of the season, you have hit it. You were 2 points ahead of Wes Hogue going into the second last event. 2 races remaining after tonight. Anybody you would like to thank?
Just everyone who can keep their head above their you-know-what over here in Vidane, helps run this thing. I really appreciate it from every single one of these guys. I love it. It's fun to do when things aren't going down, but we keep having weeks like this. This won't be lasting long, unfortunately. I'm just super disappointed. Now, I finished third. I'm happy. I'm 2 points ahead of Wes, but it's just that proves to be absolutely nothing. You saw what happened last week. Anything can happen. We got a long way to go this season, but 2 races to go. We'll see what happens. It's gonna be tough.
Awesome job tonight, Ian, and hopefully we'll see you next week for round 11. And Evan, I'm going to send it down to you on pit lane, right down pit lane with the number 32. Evan is with Jack Brooker.
That's right. We're down here on the pit lane. Again, you heard it there. The number 32 machine of Jack Bruker coming home with a second place finish. And Jack, first off, before we get down to the details and coming down to those closing laps, what were you anticipating coming into tonight's 59 lapper at Dega?
I wasn't sure what to expect, really. This is the first time I've run the A car with Vidane. I expected there to be at least 2 big wrecks, and I was correct. I kind of just decided to hang back and avoid the wrecks and be in it at the end, and it just so happened that I was, and I ended up finishing second because of it.
And definitely, and coming down to the finish there, a green flag finish at Dega is always exciting. We saw you had the run on the back bumper of the 42 machine of Connor Anton, but you just had nowhere to go. Walk us through that final lap.
Yeah, I was blinking almost the entire lap, blinking as in my temperatures were hot. So I was just kind of, I think it was the 83 who I was pushing, I forget who it was. But I had cars all around me, and on the backstretch we were like 10 wide, getting into 3. And someone next to me got turned. Thankfully I didn't get hooked, and I knew that I had a chance at least a top 3 when that happened. I got the run, but there was already a car to my outside, so if I would have moved to the middle, I guess I would have taken the risk of getting wrecked, and I didn't want to do that. So second is all right with me.
And definitely, for sure, and you would have liked to get it, but definitely second place is a solid finish. You talked about that you were going to anticipate at least 2 big wrecks in this thing, and it didn't happen. There were lots of incidents, so it was really about keeping your nose clean. And I mean, you qualified for this race back in the 26th position. You were the first car to take to the grid without a qualifying time. So, did you have any close calls getting up through the field?
Oh, absolutely. I kind of got into a wreck on pit road. Even on the initial start, I actually ended up getting the wall because the person in front of me was blinking, and that was distracting me. My ADD kind of kicked in, and I was too busy looking at the flashing lights that I hit the wall. But I had multiple close calls. I almost got into that really big wreck that happened in turn 3 later in the race. Thankfully, I didn't ARCA brake it in, though, and I slowed it down enough that I got through cleanly. And it was really after that I knew that I had at least a shot at a single-digit finish, which is what my initial goal was.
Definitely. Well, second place finish in a almost full field. I think we had 38 cars take to the green flag. Definitely a solid performance. Do you have any shout-outs or sponsors that you want to thank?
Yes, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Viagra, Cialis, Flomax, and Extend.
All right, but 10-4. Hey, congrats on the second place finish in the 32.
Thank you, sir.
That's going to do it here. Dalton, I do believe you've caught up with the driver of the 94 machine, Paul Strickland Jr. 19th place finish, not the most solid one, but I'm sure you had a fun time out there when it lasted.
Yeah, I'm down here with Paul Strickland Jr., not the race he wanted tonight. I got involved in a lot of wrecks. It was just a bad night for him. Jumped 2 positions in points, just not a good night, though. Paul, your night it was not good at all. Take us through it.
It's about the same as it's been all season long. I put a lot of my time, effort, and funds into this league, and get disrespected by guys that want to run 2 or 3 races all season long, and it's a crying shame because a lot of these guys show up each and every week and put a lot of support, bringing a lot of sponsors to the league, bringing a lot of money to the table, and last week I got wrecked by somebody throwing a temper tantrum, and this week I got wrecked by somebody, I don't know, he was riding low, and I had to run up the middle. It was on the backstretch, and his excuse was he got loose, and I don't know how you get loose on a straightaway, but it's a crying shame. But I definitely want to give a shout to Rent a Race Car for helping us out big time this season. The champion, as everybody has heard, they get a free rental in the Dare stocks at Stafford Motor Speedway, and also Pro-Am belts for supplying the awesome championship belt that we're going to hand off to the winner, whether it be Ian Plash, who's the points leader by 2 over Wes Hogue right now, and I also want to give a big shout out to Ken's Cards for helping us out with all the advertisement and the help that they've done with us this season. Want to give another shout out to Ian Plash for helping me out this season. I absolutely could not have done this without him. Every single week he's here and he handles all the paperwork, and it's definitely good to have a guy like Ian on my side helping me out. And I also want to give a shout out to Chris Sweat, who's helping out with the admin stuff, and also Garland Meadows, who hasn't been with us most of the season, but he's the reason we're all here today. It was his idea to come back, and I'm trying to have as much fun as I can, but I'm getting kind of tired of getting wrecked out early on in the race to finish 20th, 30th. So I think you're going to see a different Paul Strickland these two races here at Vidane.
That is Paul Strickland Jr. in the number 94, getting 19th place tonight at the Talladega Super Speedway in round number 10.
Definitely not the night that he was looking for sure. Had a fast machine and was just unable to capitalize on it. And Dalton, that's going to pretty much do it for us this evening. Again, it was 59 laps on the board at the Talladega Super Speedway, obviously with the Gen 6 machines, and we were looking for a race, maybe a little bit more cautions than we were anticipating, and you heard the deduction in Strickland's voice there, how, and that's one of the things at Talladega, you just get caught up in something that's really none of your own problem, and when it's not your night, it's just not your night, and it seems like he had one of those this evening for sure. So again, when it's all said and done, it's going to be Connor Anton taking the win in the U.S. Armed Forces 156, presented by Jonathan Goke. And that's going to do it. Thank you for everybody for tuning in to this evening's race with LSRTV and the Vidane Racing League. And you can check them out at vidane.net. And also, I'd like to thank the sponsors, Rent a Race Car Northeast, Ken's Cards, Don's Home Improvement, RIR Chevette Productions, Pro-Am Belts, EX Lander Designs, Trading Paints, and, of course, my broadcast partner, Dalton England, for being up here in the booth with me, Laura Lawson, again, down there in the hauler, pushing the buttons, working the cameras, getting us on air. My name is Evan Pasoko. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time we go to the racetrack.
I'm CTWE Wrestler The Mac.
And I'm Showtime Stevie Stamos.
Have you ever dreamed of owning your own race car and taking it out for a test drive? Well, thanks to our friends at Rent a Race Car, you can!
Visit www.rentaracecarne.com for all the details on how you can take one of these babies out to Stafford Motor Speedway. We'll see you at the races.
Touchdown!